Yo, what's going on, my gremlins? Today, I'm building a new vehicle for y'all in survival, and yes, this vehicle does work in survival. I saw my comments on my last build video, so I'm sorry to y'all that wanted that build in survival. I actually didn't realize that vehicle base 12 was not in survival, so it is my fault. So this build is built with vehicle base 11 to give us more room, because this is a pretty big build, so make sure to stick with me. Again, sorry about last video, or last build, but hey, what can I do? I'm giving y'all a new one, and it's based off the wasteland parts that you get, so it looks pretty interesting. I know y'all are interested. Alright, now we're going to start with the base. So, just go ahead and put down your little vehicle base where you're going to build it and get that vehicle base number 11. And we're going to put one long ways on the little like pillar, and then we're going to make them long ways, the other vehicle base 11s, and we're going to snap those on to the original base that we have. Now for the sides of the foundation, I am going to go for like the foundation pieces, and we're going to go for granite foundation 1. And you're going to put that right against the edge of that first vehicle base 11, and they're going to get the 4x16 piece foundation. You're going to put that next to the granite foundation number 1. I alternated them, but you really just need 2 of each on each side, so I went ahead and did that for the other side as well. Alright, now that we have our base down, we can start working on the sides. So for the sides, we're going to get our Wastelander pillar, and it's going to be the one with the up arrow. Honestly, you can do it the other one with the X or the plain one if you don't like the lights. I preferably like the lights, and I just think it adds a little more style to the build. But you're going to want to put it 2 off of the back of your build, and then make sure it's 1 off of the granite foundation. So that's 2 studs off the back, and then you're going to see 1 stud of gray from the gray foundation. And then I went ahead and it's easier just to use the snap mode, and then you just want to put 7 of these columns along the sides of your build, and again just do that for both sides. Alright, now that you've placed down the sides, we can start working on the front. So we're going to get that little X column, and we're going to put that in front of the ones with the arrows. And the way that I like to place it, so I get it right up against like the up arrow columns, and I take the X column and I take it 1 off the base, and as soon as it hits the stud, that's stud number 1, and we're going to go 4 studs in. So as soon as it hits the first stud on there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place it. So it should have 1 stud hanging off for the X right in front of the X, but don't count the little column. So it's like the column on the corner and then the X. And then I went ahead and I put more X's across the top of all of them. I did that on both sides. And then make sure to leave the one on the back empty. So I put it there on the other side just to show that you don't want it there. Alright, now that we're back at the front of our build, we're going to get 2 more of those up arrow columns, and we're going to place them on top of the front X's. And now we're going to get these Wastelander gate parts, and they're at the very bottom of the support tab. And just go ahead and place those in the middle of where the up arrow ones are, so they'll just have 2 on the side of each, since it's 6 wide. So the 2 in the middle are occupied by the pillar, and the 2 on the sides are vacant. And then just get the other side of the gate and clip that to the front part of the gate. And then once you get that down, I get a 16 times 8 piece. Preferably, I would go for one that you need frost pine for because it's more durable, and honestly, I think it fits the build a little bit better. But we're going to place that in between the pillars, so you're just going to have to kind of like, you can't lock it, you're just going to have to kind of like wiggle it around until it turns green, and you want it right up against like the back part of like the little triangle piece of the wasteland gates. And it's just going to be in between the pillars. It'll look flush. It is going to be a little bit above like the column pieces, but that's okay. Now we're going to get our Galactic Lodge stairs, and there's 2 ways to do it. You can either have the first one stud over the gray line in the middle, or you can just snap it on in the middle of that 16 by 8 piece, and then make sure that the step underneath this first stair is 2 studs, because each step is 2 studs, so I just kind of wanted to keep it the same. And you're going to be left with this little lip at the bottom. So you're going to want to place 3 of these 8x2 pieces. I chose the Majestic Manor just because it was black and gray, and that's what the build looks like. And I'm going to place a campfire there because 1, it's going to keep you warm whenever you're in a cold area, and 2, it adds some light to your build, and it looks like it's shining out of its mouth, and I like that a lot. Also, sometimes it might have the smoke, sometimes it doesn't. I've seen it have the smoke a couple times when I've used it, but it's an easier way to find your car if you can't find all the neon lights. Alright, our vehicle's starting to come together a little bit, but we do have a little bit more work to do on the bottom. So we're going to get these vehicle base number 3s, and we're going to put that right up against those foundations that we placed earlier. And it's just going to be right next to that little caution looking yellow and gray striped piece. So if it's just like all you see is that piece and there's no brown behind it, then you did it right. You might see a sliver if you're at an angle, but other than that, you're not going to see it. And then on the sides, you're also going to get those granite pieces that are the 4x16. And you're going to want to put 2 of them underneath the up arrows. And you want that in the middle. So whenever I place them down, I go and I look to see where I'm at in the middle. Make sure there's 2 studs next to that up arrow. And then place your second foundation. And then place another one of those foundation number 1s. So it's in the middle of the back piece as well. And make sure to do that on both sides. Now we're going to get to work underneath the car. So I'm getting the build piece for suspension. We're going to get suspension number 4. And we're going to go up to the back of this build. And you see how there's like those little like full squares with the circle in the middle of them? That's pretty much 2 studs back. But we're going to place like the suspension right behind that. So leave 1 square full and then place it against the side. So if you're building an actual Lego piece, put it against the side, and where like the slant is down, that part is hanging off of the build. So that part would not go inside of the piece above it. And then I had to move the car jack on it because it was in the way of me placing my suspension. And you're going to want to place it somewhere kind of in the middle out of the way because we're going to be placing our thrusters pretty soon. I placed mine kind of in an awkward area because I wanted a good workspace. So if your build is kind of like that, snap a jack onto the very bottom of it and then just put like a foundation until it touches the ground or it's clipped into the ground or something. But either way, just try to keep it to where your build will stay in the air without you making it fall right now because you want it to be in the air right now. Getting back to that suspension, so again it is suspension number 4 and the squares on the bottom, we're going to take it 5 back. So if you count to 10 it'll be 5 back, or if you keep an eye on the squares, just count 5 squares back and make sure it's against the side of the build. So the first one I did place wrong and I had to break it, but after I got the second one adjusted and fit perfectly, I went ahead and broke it and made that one flush. Alright, now that we got our suspension fixed and all ready to go, we can start working on the thrusters. So for our thrusters, we're going to make sure that it's in the middle of our suspension, and we're going to make it 1 off. So go to the middle of the suspension, and I like to put it inside the build just to make sure that it's there, and then just put it 1 off from the build. And then for the next one, you make it flush with the next thruster, and then just go 1 off of it again. So as long as there's a space of 1 in between, so not just the next piece where it's green, but the space afterwards. And just make it into a cross formation, and that's only for the front. So usually I would say do this for both sides of the build, but this build is actually a little different because it's actually heavier in the front. So in the back we're going to do a line of 3 the same way. So just make sure that you're in the middle of that suspension piece and then just go 1 off of that one as well, and then the same way, just make sure just 1 off of each other. Woo! Oh man. Alright, y'all still here, bro? Alright, bet. Alright, we're getting vehicle base number 3. And we're going to put that in the front, right? So remember those little squares with the little circle in the middle? We're going to put vehicle base 3 right in the middle, right behind it. And then we're actually making some custom stairs. So you might be like, hey, why aren't you putting like some normal stairs there? So these pieces are actually more durable and they take way more damage than most of the other pieces. It takes like 3 hits with like a maxed out pickaxe to take out these pieces, but it's the 12x2 ancient thin floor. That's without upgrades, by the way, on the pickaxe. Don't at me. But we're going to take our 12x2 ancient floors and we're going to make sure that they're in the middle. And you're going to put 2 down like on top of each other right in front of that vehicle base number 3. And then the one on the very bottom, you're going to put another floor right in front of it. And then that floor that you put in front of it, put another one on the bottom, and then place another one in front of that one. So that makes our steps, and it's going to be 3 steps down. And then at that vehicle base, we're going to put 2 small thrusters right next to it, right next to the sides to help with that weight, because this piece is really heavy. Now we're going to work on our back stairs, and it's almost the same. So you're going to want to get that 12x2 piece, and you're going to want to get it at the very bottom of your base piece, vehicle base 11, at the very bottom of it. And you're going to put another piece in front of it so it's sticking out. and then put a piece on the bottom, and the piece on the bottom put one in front, just like you did in the beginning, and then make it stick 3 out, and then once you get it 3 out, you're going to put another one at the top. So this step is 4 steps instead of 3. If you want it to be 3 and you have a long piece at the top, go ahead. It'll reduce a little bit of the weight, I think. But I mean, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a design choice, and these are custom stairs, so build it how you want, because you're going to have fun with it anyway. It's your build, you know what I mean? Now we're going to work on the tires. So we're going to put the large powered tires on the back and the large steerable tires in the front. That's, usually how it goes. The only thing that's really different about the tires that I would say you should stick around for is I have some on the side so that it could float in the water better, because it is heavy and it is going to sink. Not like sink like all the way to the bottom or anything, unless you don't have balloons on it, but the tires add like buoyancy so you can float better. So each large simple tire that I use, which is by the way the ones you need, the large simple tires, you put them in between the arrows. So on the arrows I go in between each pillar, so in between the first and the second, in between the third and the fourth, and in between the fifth and the sixth one. Also, I added my steering wheel at the top, and I added 2 chests to the side for more storage, and it makes it look like it has little ears if you look at the build. I'm not sure if I looked at it at this point in the video, but if you're building it, look at it. It looks a little funny before you have to put the balloons. Since I mentioned the balloons, I'm going to go ahead and place those first. So we're going to get the large balloons, and we're going to go up to where we have these gate pieces, and there's going to be a black square. We're going to place them on those black squares in the front, and then for the back, for the balloons, we're going to go to that last column, go all the way against the back part, and then make sure that it's in the middle, and we're going to place those ones there. And don't lift off just yet, because we still need our wings. I got a little excited and I lifted off, but let's get started in these wings. I'm going to keep going. So we're going to use that vehicle base 3. I don't know why I like using them for my wings, but they work. And I'm putting them in between, like, the columns in between the tires. I know it's kind of confusing the way I said it, but like, so where the tires are, it's going to be a plus in the middle of it, and in the middle of that plus is where we're putting our wing. The very back wing is a little different, so it is like where the plus would be at, but it is down 1. So if you're like adjusting it, I would press down just once. It would be flush with the very top, so all the studs look like it's one piece, and only one strip of the studs will be on the very last column. So if that kind of helps you out, if my verbal instructions weren't that good, I'm just gonna leave in me editing them or putting them down, because I mean, honestly, it is a little confusing, and I don't know how to word it the best, so I'm a little sorry about that, but if you just watch the video, you'll know what to do. Alright, now that you got all like the wings good, now it's time for the thrusters. So we're going to start with the large thruster, and you're going to attach those to the very end of each one of the wings, but on the back side. And do that for both sides, and then you're going to get a small thruster, and you're going to put it right next to it. So as soon as it turns green next to the big thruster, I'll just place it down. And that's it. Now you have your wings, and then go ahead and put your engine underneath the stairs. I put it as far back as I could. And then I put another chest there for more storage. And there's more things you can put on this, just be wary that the more things you put on there, the more weight you're adding to your vehicle. So you're going to need to add more balloons, or you might need to, like, I wouldn't say move stuff around, but if you needed to, like, get rid of some balloons or move a chest or your seat or something, like, that's okay too, because I mean, it is your build, it is your world, you can do what you want. That's kind of like the fun of Lego. But before I start hyping up Lego, let me get into like what you need to do for these thrusters. So you're going to need a wrench, and everything on the left is going to be channel 1, and then everything on the other side is going to be a channel 2. So whenever you're like flying, you just press triangle to turn. So like you'll turn on your thrusters on the left side, and you'll turn to the right, and then if you want to move the other way, just press circle, and then you turn to the left. That's how I like to do my builds, and then, X is always up, so if anything breaks on the bottom, you can always just replace it. I always make sure to keep extra parts in my chests. That's a good tip for y'all. Now, some of y'all might think that y'all are done at this point because I'm flying, but actually I'm not. In fact, there's 2 modifications that I would add to this, so if you already left, then oops, but if you're still here, then you're still here because you heard me say this. But you need to make it more buoyant. So you need 2 more balloons on the side. So I just placed them kind of in the middle, really just anywhere you feel like. At first I tried some balloons in the mouth, and I don't know, I didn't like the design, so I just figured out if I put 2 large balloons, it's not too like light for it to lift in the air while I drive, and it's just good enough for me to be in the water without everything being submerged. It might go like if it's a high tide, like a little bit into your build, but you're not gonna drown or lose stamina off of it. And then the next modification is I did put some more thrusters on it. So on the back in those columns, you're going to want to put it almost in the middle, but not really. It's a little offset. It's more like towards the outer part of the boat. Whatever like little plank is the closest to the outside, you want it to be about like 1 stud on that little bit. So it's light brown on the left side and it's dark brown on the right side. And then I put 2 more thrusters on the back granite foundations, just on the outer parts of it, and that's really it. It makes it turn a lot faster, so I kind of hopped out just to show you like how fast you move, and it felt way better than how it felt before. And I'm not gonna lie, I did put the balloons back in the shark's mouth. I put them on that little circle that has like the open stud in the middle. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's practically in the corner of the gray pieces in the front. You can see where they're at. But I added them because like while I was flying, I was still a little top heavy, and like I mean, yeah, your thrusters kind of fix it, but I'd like to fly just a little more even. So you could do without the balloons if you really do hate the design, but honestly, I just felt like it was a quality of life thing that I just needed to add back to it. Anyways, congratulations on your new build. Hopefully you like it. I did come up with this myself. It's good in land, air, and sea. Sorry about my phone alarm. But I preferably like it in the sea because it is based off of the brutal Beachhead POI and the new Wrecked season for Fortnite. And that's where all these build pieces came from, is this battle pass. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and it really kind of captures the vibe of the season, I feel like. So if you think it captures the vibe of the season, or if you really enjoy using it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you built this and how you feel about it. Do you think I should change anything with this build? That's really all I have for y'all though. I'm just gonna leave a little clip at the end where I'm just kind of chilling, like fishing, or just kind of showing off the build, just to convince y'all if you watch this and you don't know if you want to build it just yet. That's really all I got for y'all, and if you're a long viewer, you'd know that island was from when I did my Bright Bomb like review, whenever that pay like bundle came in with the new lights. But yeah, anyway, it's been muted, and I'll catch y'all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm almost at 500 subs, bro. That's crazy. I really do appreciate and love y'all, but make sure to get me to 500, and I'll keep producing more content for y'all. But it's been muted, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.